Hey, so we're doing the How to Study the Bible for Yourself from the first chapters of the book of Mark. So I talked to you about the importance of recognizing patterns, and I'm gonna bring out one pattern that you're going to see a lot. You're going to actually see it in these few chapters of Mark. You're going to see it 42 times if you watch for it, and that is the word immediately. Why is like immediately Jesus did this, and immediately the Spirit drove him into the wilderness. It's literally in the first chapter, right there in verse number 12. So this is why that? Why is this immediately? It happens again in verse number 18. It happens again in verse 20. It happens again in verse 23. It happens again in verse 29. Like, it's a major pattern in the book of Mark. Why is that? Well, the answer is, let's talk, at least we believe the answer is context. So let me explain what that means. So it means that Mark is writing to, right, somebody. Remember, we talked about the importance of broader context, who's writing, why, and to whom. And so Mark is writing to a predominantly Roman audience. The reason we say this is because some of the clues in the book itself. He explains Jewish customs, which Matthew didn't do because he was writing to primarily a Jewish audience. He also uses Roman time marking, which Matthew did not do. In fact, there's one place where people say there's a contradiction in the time. It's not. Mark uses Roman time. Matthew uses Jewish time, which counted. Roman time counted from midnight. Jewish time counted from sunup. And so that is the way that that worked. And so additionally, Matthew's goal is to show that Jesus is the rightful king of the Jews, and Mark's goal is to present Jesus to the Roman world as a man of action. Romans didn't care about the philosophical meanderings of the Greeks very much. The Greeks love to talk and have. Romans didn't really care. They wanted to know, who were you, what did you do, and what did you conquer? Right? Like, that's what they wanted to know. Like, were you a person of action? And tell me about the deeds of the great men, not the thoughts. And so Mark takes that into account, and he focuses a lot on action. There's much less teaching in Mark. So once you understand that, you can see why he focuses on immediately, and the action, and the quickness and the urgency of the mission. And so that's probably what it. Now, Mark is the simplest gospel. It's very possible it was written early. Mark was John Mark, and most likely, and tradition says he was the assistant of the Apostle Peter, and that's why his book is treated as coming from one of the apostles, even though Mark himself was not one of the 12. That he was the assistant of the Apostle Peter, and he wrote down those stories that Peter told him. We don't even know if Peter could read or write, but we do know that Peter told stories. And so that's the story. That's the basic overview of some of the ways you can learn to study the Bible for yourself, looking at the beginning of Mark.